Hi everyone, welcome to our Facebook Live today. My name is Alyssa and I'm the Marketing Manager here at Katoomba, and I'm really excited to be welcoming back Kirsten McHarg from Savvy Salon Marketing. Hey Kirsten.
Hi Alyssa, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. What about you?
Good, thanks, and thanks for having me back.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for coming back. Today is actually our second Facebook Live that is all about digital marketing. So we've decided that every single month we want to focus on a different digital marketing topic, because we all know how important marketing is for our businesses. And when it comes to digital marketing, there are just so many options and there's so much that you need to know. And we know that it can become pretty overwhelming to kind of decide, I guess, what types of digital marketing you want to use in your business. But also if you're already undertaking them, kind of, I guess, getting the right advice and tips to really make sure that they're working for your business. And so, yeah, really excited to have Kirsten back. Every month will be a different topic, so do make sure that you're looking out for kind of the next topic. Last time we spoke about social media content, which was awesome. And today is all about the importance of email marketing. And so I've got a bunch of questions for Kirsten. And if you guys have any questions for her at all, please do pop them in the comments and I'll ask her for them on your behalf. Hi David, it's nice to have you here. So thank you very much for joining us. I just got a lovely comment from him. And yeah, we've obviously got Kirsten here as well. I just wanted to mention, Kirsten really is the perfect person to have here because she's actually owned, I don't know how many salons you've owned actually. Three salons. And so she's obviously very, very experienced in the industry, which is amazing. And then she studied marketing and now she specializes in helping salon spas and clinics with their digital marketing. So yeah, I know you've got a lot of experience and a lot of insight to share with us, Kirsten, which is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah. Oh, hi Chantel as well. Nice to have you here too. Yeah, so I've got a bunch of questions for you. So we'll pick into it, and if we get any others along the way, then I'll fit them in as well. So first up, let's just start with the basics. Why do you think it is so important that a salon, spa or clinic has email marketing as part of their marketing strategy?
Okay, so any good marketing strategy has more than one strand to it or many strings to its bow. And email marketing really is a no-brainer because particularly with your current clients, you get them into your database. They are leads that you can own and control. And you can then start carrying on that relationship beyond the salon visits and stay top of mind and keep in touch with people. You can give them value content. You can let them know about promotions. And as long as you do it in the right way, it's not spammy, and you can really strengthen their loyalty to your salon. So that's the current client aspect. Then, of course, attracting new clients, it's a really good way of getting people onto your list. And quite often we know that we're attracting people to our social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. But we also know that Facebook can shut us down at any given moment. So you may have thousands of followers who are just loving you on your social platforms, but unless you get them off there and onto something more secure that you can control, such as email marketing, it's a little bit of a risk. So there are a lot of benefits to it. It's low cost. It's not difficult. And it is part of the service that you offer your clients, in my mind.
Awesome. Cool. So it sounds like everyone should be doing email marketing. I hope everyone watching is. Cool. And so you mentioned their current clients. So how can you use email marketing to keep in touch with your clients, your current clients?
So a good example of that was when we went into lockdown. And, there are a lot of salon owners out there using email marketing and doing it really well. But there are also another group that it's a bit too hard. It's another thing to think about. It's what am I going to do each month or week or whatever. But it became a lot more apparent that we needed to be staying in touch with our clients through that time. And some people did that extremely well. Other people realised the benefit of it. So that aside, lockdown or not, I think, as I said earlier, it's part of the service that you provide people. And I often hear some salon owners say, look, it's, we're flooded with emails. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of clutter, and that's all true. But if you're putting out a really great email to your current clients, letting them know about your promotions or just giving them skincare tips or information that's of value, educating, inspiring, motivating, whatever, they will seek it out. And it
Yes.
doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to be onerous, but they will seek it out. And I know in my salon, if I missed my date that I would normally send it out because I got busy or whatever, I'd have people saying, "Where's your newsletter? I love your newsletter." So yeah, so that's a good problem to have, I guess. So it is worth the investment to keep the relationship going with your clients, because you just don't know what's going to happen with Facebook and Instagram. You want to have them in a situation where you're keeping in touch with them, but come at it from a perspective of providing added value and part of the service.
Yeah, you're so right. And that's the thing, they come in for their visits, but what about in between that? You need to keep in touch with them. And like you say, I know if you send an email out and it's not particularly valuable, or it's not really great information, or it's not very, exciting, your open rates are going to be terrible. But as soon as you do send a fantastic email that you are really adding value to their lives, you're not just sending an email for the sake of it, and you really are picking and choosing what you talk about, your open rates they skyrocket. It's very, very interesting. And I like also what you said about, if you missed your date, people are asking for it. So I know regularity of emails. So if you kind of do something, if it's once a month, maybe make it the same date or around that same period, because then people get into a bit of a rhythm of like expecting it, I guess, and wanting to open it.
They do. And it is a commitment. You're either going to do email marketing or you're not going to do email marketing. And if you're going to do email marketing, you may as well do it really well. And if you find that it's a time issue for you and every month comes around quite quick, and it does, just make it every quarter. But you'll see your clients in between, and you'll say, "Hey, my newsletter is going to come out," and they'll come to know whether they love it or not, and you'll be able to tell by the unsubscribes if there's something up. So that's something to look at, because you can see obviously who has unsubscribed, and then you can figure out and maybe even speak to them about what the issue might be.
It's a great idea.
And the other thing is a little bit of an added task, but is keeping your list clean. And so sometimes you may go into your email marketing program and it's got bounces. So bounces mean that your email didn't actually reach that person. And this is a bit technical, but it is worthwhile having a look at those bounces. And if they are hard bounces, it means you need to take them off your list, because that can affect the the deliverability and the profile and quality of who you are as an email sender. So you just want to be mindful of that.
Yeah, you don't want to be sending people spam, do you?
No, but you want to send them quality, and you'll only be able to tell from the feedback that you get, and unsubscribes are a good way to figure that out.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I mean, at the end of the day, in this industry, you have a really, really personal relationship with your clients. And so if someone does unsubscribe, kind of asking the next time they come in, "Hey, I'd really just like to know, why did you unsubscribe? Give me some feedback." It's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe they say, "Look, I get too many emails," or maybe they say, "Oh, I don't really find it that valuable." Then you can always ask them, "Okay, well, what would you find that valuable?" And that's incredible, valuable advice that you kind of want.
It is. And it actually is quite easy to take it personally. I used to back in the days to think, why did they unsubscribe? Do they not like me? But in actual fact, some people just love you and they're going to come anyway. They don't need the email. And it's just another thing they need to read about, and they get what they need from you anyway. So it's not always a negative. But really, really good to follow them up and find out why.
I reckon try and see the feedback as an opportunity to be like kind of master email marketing, rather than being sad that someone doesn't want to read your emails. Try and flip it around.
That's right. And it could be that they say it's just too long or there's too much information, and that's great news, because then you can shorten it. And short is good. Yeah,
definitely. Cool. So that's your current clients. What about when it comes to new and prospective clients?
Yeah, so again, it's like I said earlier, you want to get them off Facebook and Instagram. Well, not so much off, but you want to get them across to your email list, because you can be shut down at any moment, and that does happen. And then you're a bit lost and you've got to start all over again. So it's a good marketing strategy to get people onto your email list, new people, Then you can start to introduce yourself to them through video or just, written blogs, value content, that sort of thing. You can share your promotional offers with them. You can do product launches, anything like that. And over time, they may go, oh yeah, okay, I'm finally going to pick up the phone and make a booking. Some people are very early in their buying cycle. Some people may be with another salon looking for a change. Some people just new to the area, and so they put themselves on subscribe lists just to get to know the salon and see what's happening. And that's where that regularity and being quite good is a good thing, because it shows that you are engaged with people, and you're keeping your content fresh, and over time people just start to come to know you, and they eventually something will happen. So it's just building that relationship, nurturing them, taking them along like a sales funnel, if you want to give it a marketing term, and then eventually converting them, and then you put them on the list of customers and they start getting a different experience with you.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. And then I guess once we've now, kind of know what content we want to send, but what kind of tools can salons and spas be using to actually get their emails out to these people?
Yep. So the key tool is an email software program. MailChimp is one that a lot of salons use, and that's because it is predominantly free, although MailChimp have changed things a little bit. But MailChimp's quite simple to use. They've really upgraded their offering and given all sorts of features and functionality that are easy to use. So any sort of email marketing system, whether it's quite simple or something a bit more complicated, depending on what you want to do, that's the core piece. And then, it should be able to integrate with your booking systems such as Katomba. And then the two will talk to each other so that you've got that clean data that I talked about. And then there's other tools that go towards making a nice email template. There's artwork, there's Canva, that sort of thing. But predominantly it's the email marketing system, and you really should be able to get what you need inside that system in terms of being able to build a landing page if you want to do it differently to your website. So really it's just the email marketing system, and then there are some additional tools to help you create the template, but most of it's done inside the system.
Yeah, awesome. And you keep talking about your database and making sure it's really, really clean. And so I know that kind of depending on what software system you're using, so I know with Katomba, there is a feature called Give to Client, and it's literally you get to, on a device, give them a form that they get to update their details, and that goes automatically into their client card, which means that you've got that clean database, you've got their contact details, you know which way that they prefer to be messaged, so whether that's email or text sometimes, so you do obviously have to be careful about that, because otherwise your unsubscribes can go up. But yeah, like making that part of your, I guess, process, ongoing. So maybe, as soon as they come into the salon, have you recently updated your details, kind of, or making sure they do it once a year or something like that, and making it easy, automated, paperless, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit like if you do a little bit often and keep on top of it, it's not a chore. And as you say, you just make it part of your process, and it's not onerous, because the last thing you want to do is, like I talked about, deliverability. You don't want to get a kind of a bad name with the email marketing software program because you've got dirty data, basically. So that's a quality issue.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely build it into your kind of, I guess, your client's journey with you. So if you already use a digital form for your consultations, just get them to update their details just before you do the consultation and fill in that form, kind of thing. So lots of easy ways to do it. I think you just have to do it, right?
Yeah, it's just a good habit to do.
Cool. Awesome. And so once we've got our tool, the next part is, I guess, really making sure that we're creating and writing the best email ever, so that we get lots of high open rate. So what are the elements that make up a really, really great email?
So you need a purpose. What is the purpose of this email? And what do you want people to think, feel, or do as a result of the email? So you got to get that up front. You've also got to understand who you're targeting with the email. Is it everybody in your database, or is it a segment of your database, like perhaps people who have their legs waxed and you want to talk to them about something. So you've got to be really clear about those two things. If you're not, your email will be scattered and your open rates won't be great, and your unsubscribes will go up, and it may go, in the direction you don't want it to. So if you've got your purpose, a very clear call to action about what you want them to do, and you know who you're talking to, that's great. Then, of course, the next thing is the subject line. And we could probably do a Facebook Live just on the subject line. So,
we probably could.
Yeah. So fair to say that you do need something that does get amongst the clutter, something that does stand out. Obviously, in snail mail, you can have a brightly coloured envelope and that will stand out. But how do you do that in the online arena? So it's playing around with subject lines and seeing what works and what doesn't. And depending on the size of your database, you could split it in half, send out two, and one has a different subject line to the other. And you can see if one was more popular than the other. So you're just instilling curiosity, keep it short, keeping in mind that they're looking at it mostly on a mobile device. So you've only got a certain amount of that subject line that's actually going to make it into their view. So once you've got that, the next thing I think to think about is what sits under the subject line when they're looking at it on their mobile device or when they're looking at it on their desktop. And generally what shows up, it self-populates, and it's the first sentence or the first heading, whichever way you structure email, that comes from the body copy. So what I try to do is I have my subject line, and then my next sentence, which is that first sentence in the body of the email, supports the subject line. So you initiate a bit of curiosity, you explain it a little bit more, and hopefully that's enough to get them to open it. They do open it because it's great. You've done an amazing job. And then you look at the email, and generally in most email systems, you've got a pre-header box for a little bit of text, and that's in the top left. And that's an opportunity to just say something like, hey, grab a coffee and take 5 minutes and enjoy our newsletter. Or it could just be, hey, there's an amazing promotion that we've got going on, find out more. So it's just another little bit of a teaser opportunity to make sure they actually do go and read. So then you've got all that going on, and then you've got your general look and feel and aesthetic. So you want to make sure that the email banner is quality. It's I do see a number of salons that could probably improve the quality of the images that they have in their banner. So that needs to be sort of nice, because that's the next thing that people are going to see. And if it's pretty, they think, I'll go and have a look. The subject line got me interested. If it's not so great, or the quality's not so great, you might lose them. And then once you've got all that going on, short is better in my mind. And typically you want to be giving them a little bit of a teaser if it's a blog post, a little bit of an introduction, click through here and get them to go to your website. So it's a little bit like you're getting them off Facebook, you're getting them to your email, and now you're taking them to the website. So that's kind of where the sales funnel's starting to come in, or you might drive them to a landing page. And so then if it's a newsletter, you may have a particular template with different sections that you are the same section each month, but you populate. That's good, but again, keep it short and link them off to the website if you can, or it might just be one message. It's an announcement, it's a promotion. So I think less is more, less content, and keep it aesthetically pleasing and very clear about your purpose, what you want them to do, and who you're talking to. And then it's test, learn, adjust. How did it go? Sometimes you think, this is an amazing email, I just think it's just going to go really well, and then no one opens it. But then that really comes down to the time of day you send it and the day of the week that you send it. And again, you've got to test that as well. So, yeah.
No, I really like what you said about kind of that, test something, see how it goes, and then adjust it. I think when it comes to marketing, don't be afraid to just give it a go. It can't go too wrong. And if it doesn't go amazingly, that's fine. You've learned something again. See it as an opportunity, and tweak it and then see did that work, and then if it didn't, then try again. And you've got all your clients coming through all the time. So if they're one of the people that you targeted with a particular email, maybe say, hey, did you see my email? Or why didn't you click on it? What do you want to know? Try and get some feedback.
Yeah. The other thing to be aware of too is that if people are using Gmail, it can often go to the promotions tab, so it's worth telling people that. and a lot of people just don't check their promotions tab. The other thing is also to have a good balance of what I call value content versus pitching. And some emails could just be value content. That's it. You inform them, educate them, inspire them, do something, but you don't try and sell them anything. And because if you're just pitching all the time and it's just promotion after promotion, people tend to go, well, you don't care about me, you just want my money. So, they are on your list for a reason. If they're a current client, well, they obviously love you anyway. If they're a prospective client, they saw something in you that, it caused them to actually want to get themselves on your list. So, you're got a head start. So you just need to keep that going.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to subject lines as well, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on using emojis and also personalization? So maybe putting their name in the subject line.
Yep, good. Stay away from things like free. That tends to, that gets people's dander up anyway, but it tends to be a little bit frowned upon in terms of that deliverability that I talked about. You don't want to end up in spam and things like that. Emojis, I think, are good. Personalization is great, and obviously you can personalize right through the email. Just be very careful that you have actually got their first name right. And also in your database, be aware that you may not have everybody's first name, last name. It might kind of, it might just be blank. And so if you're personalizing it, if there's no first name, what are you going to have in the gap? It could be salon owner or client or, I don't know, waxing person or something like that. I don't know, but you've just got to have a fallback position. So it's great to personalize, but you just got to make sure that your database, again, is clean, and you know what who you're sending to.
Yeah, definitely. And I also really like what you said about knowing exactly who you want to send it to. You probably want to shout everything from the rooftops and tell everyone, but I can tell you from personal experience, the minute you really start to actually target those messages, you decide on an exact group, it changes everything as soon as you've sent the right people the right message. And same with the timing as well. You mentioned as well, testing out what day are your clients most available and what time. Is it when they're on their way home from work? Is it first thing in the morning? Is it actually when they're on their lunch break or at home eating? Or it's all that kind of stuff makes such a big difference.
It does. And the other thing you can do is, so you send it and then there'll be the unopens. So there's no reason why you can't resend that same email to the unopens, because sometimes people just miss stuff, but they do see it on the second send. It's often lower anyway. Sometimes people just see it come through and they go, oh yeah, that's ABC Salon, but great, but I just haven't got time to read it. So there's a little bit of an opportunity there as well.
Definitely. Cool. And any last email marketing tips or anything else that you wanted to mention?
I think, as I said earlier, if you're going to do it, commit to it and do it really well. Otherwise, don't bother, because actually it's a little bit of a brand risk. And again, that whole keeping your data clean. So there's a little bit of back-end housekeeping to do. And keep it short and snappy is good. And and have fun with it. It is actually quite fun. A lot of people find it quite obvious, but it's fun once you start to get the results, of course. Up until then, it can be a little bit deflating, but it's like anything. If you persist, you'll figure it out, and clients will tell you.
Totally. And I like what you said as well. You said it last week about social media, and it's the same with email. It's really any marketing. It's work out how much time you really can commit to that marketing activity, and only commit the amount of time that you really can spend on it, and then do it really well. So rather than saying, well, no, I have to do it every single week, it's better to do it every quarter if that's the only amount of time that you have.
That's right. And there's a number of marketing strategies we can all choose from. And I say to people, don't try and do it all. Just pick one or two and do them really well, and then add something else. Email marketing's like gold. Because, as I said earlier, they're on the list for a reason. They either love you and they're your client, or they love you enough that they got themselves on your list. So why not go there where there's warm traffic, as opposed to trying to attract cold traffic through Facebook advertising or something like that? So
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Cool. We've actually just had a question from David as well, so I'll read that out. He said, so many marketing emails are coming through to me as plain text. What's your thoughts on this? Is it too bland for our industry?
Yeah, I understand that, and I can see why, because some people will switch off their graphics so that it just comes through as plain text. So
Right.
there's a valid reason why that's done, but I do feel that we are in that creative industry, and I personally will still forge ahead with something creative. You just got to make sure that your images are optimized so that you're not, clogging up too much of an inbox or anything like that, or it's too slow to download, because if that's the case, people will move on and they won't read your email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what you said before as well about brand is so important. It's that, you've got to have that really strong look and feel, but also that voice. So when you're writing the content in your email, that everything matches and is consistent with your social media and when they actually come and visit you and things like that. And so, yeah, I definitely think our industry is incredible. You guys have content coming out your ears every single day. Think about everything that you're doing. Think about your beautiful space. There's so much imagery there. Take your own photos and use those. And I think definitely the minute you open a plain text email, you're like, what's this? It looks like a work email. Whereas when you open something beautiful and thought out, it's exciting.
It does have its place. But yeah, I still, as we've talked about, prefer to have a nice design to accompany an email.
Definitely. Cool. Awesome. Well, I hope that's answered your question, David. We also had an amazing comment from Sherry Lee, who I know is a Katoomba customer, and I know you're one of Kirsten's clients as well. Yeah. We love you, Sherry Lee. She said, Kirsten is so amazing. I love her. So thank you very much for watching, Sherry Lee, and thank you for your lovely comment. And thank you, Kirsten, so much for your time today. It's been awesome chatting again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. It was fun.
Of course. Awesome. And thank you to everyone who has watched this session. We hope that you've gotten lots of tips and advice from that and have lots of ideas for your own email marketing. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we hope to see you on our next digital marketing Facebook Live, which will be in March. So keep an eye out for the date on that and also the topic. Thank you all and have an amazing day. See ya.